Hello and welcome to my page at Erin Art, and today we're doing a tutorial for some lemons that are hanging off of a tree. Right now I'm preparing my palette, I'm wetting my wells and transferring the color over. Mix your green in with some yellow to create a lighter green. So the second well of yellow that I've created, I'm going to go ahead and add some orange to, and I'm going to continue to adjust it by adding more yellow just till I feel like it's the right color for me. I'm wanting it to be a very light orange. You'll notice that I am cleaning my brush between going back and forth to the wells, and that is a way to ensure you keep your colors pure in your palette, and with yellow it's very important to do that. We're going to go ahead and make a darker tone of yellow by adding a little water and then some of the brown, and I'll go back and forth and adjust it until I'm happy with that color. I'm also going to add a well of just a pure yellow tone, but I'm adding plenty of water in there to make sure it's a lighter color when I lay it down on my paper. And now I'm ready to begin. First thing I'm going to do is just draw out essentially the shape of a lemon with my brush. Right now I'm working the tip of the lemon and then I'm going up to the top. I usually adjust my shape as I'm working it. It doesn't always stay the exact same shape as I start out with. Go ahead and fill in your lemon all the way with that light tone of yellow that we have, and then go ahead and start adding in the darker shade of yellow towards the bottom of the lemon where your shadows would be. Now I'm going to go in with the orange color we've made along that same edge where all the shadows are going to be. And I'm using my brush to kind of blend the two colors together and just letting the color do what it does, and we'll continue to retouch these areas as we move through the painting. If at any point you have too much water on your page, you can use your brush as a mop and remove liquid So just keep your brush kind of clean and dry, and then transfer some of the liquid back and forth to your paper towel. You'll want to leave an area of your lemon with showing the original layer of yellow that we put down, and that will be your highlight on the lemon. And it should always be opposite of the shadow. As I'm adding in the other lemons, I am careful not to touch the two together. I'm leaving a little bit of a gap, and once the painting dries, you can fill in those gaps if you don't like them. But for now, we don't want the colors to bleed together, and while everything is wet, we need to keep them separate. As you'll see, I'm just kind of slowly working my layers in and using my brush to guide the color where I want it to go. And if it ends up being a hard line, you can take your brush a little bit damp and clean and kind of massage those harder lines that start to dry if you don't like that appearance. As I am sketching in this last lemon, I am leaving a gap for a leaf that's going to come behind that first lemon and across the front of this lemon that I'm painting in. So yeah, I'm just leaving that space blank right now and filling in the rest. At this point, I'm going back over the shaded areas again with the orange and that darker tone of yellow that we've created. I am being very gentle with my strokes. I want to point that out because if you're rough with your brush in this part, you could overwork it and kind of damage the paper underneath. So be gentle. Now I'm ready to let the lemons dry a little bit while I start working in the leaves and the branch that they'll be hanging from. I am going to make a lighter green, mixing in the yellow and some of that brown as well. Now I'm ready to paint in my branch. I'm going to paint it from left to right across the top. Well, my brush is falling apart. I guess it's time for me to get some new ones. Now we're adding in the stems that will connect to some leaves. Again, you want to be careful as you start painting in your leaves to not touch the yellow because you can cause some bleeding if any of the areas are still wet or even just a little damp. It definitely happens to me during this painting. You'll see that I get one of my leaves too close to the branch up above and it does bleed. One way to stop a bleed is using a dry brush to mop up the wet area and pigment and let it dry until you can go back over it, or you can use your paper towel to do that. As I'm adding the leaves, you'll see me start with this lighter green that I've created at the top of the palette and then kind of touching in some of the darker colors. The leaves will not stay this light. At the end of the painting, you will see they're much darker. But for now, we're going to start with a lighter color and then build on that. So now I'm going to work on these lemons some more and continue to build the shadows and also soften these hard lines or hard edges that have developed when drying. And I'm taking my brush with some water and the yellow, and I am building up to the top part of the lemon, but the plan is to leave some of that first layer of yellow showing through to be the highlight. I'm going back in with more orange in the shaded areas of the lemons. Okay, so it's about time for me to stop messing with these lemons and let them dry, and I can start working on the other parts of the painting. Right now I'm just going back over the leaves with a darker shade of green. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this, and it took me a moment to realize that I just need to let this new layer that I'm adding dry before going in for the details. Now I'm ready to work on my background color, and to create it, what I'm doing at first is wetting my turquoise blue and transferring some of the pigment over to my palette. I want it to be a very watery mix so that there's plenty to go around the background of the page. And I'm also going to add in some sienna to give it a darker, kind of moodier color. And I'm just going to work on adjusting that because it turned out almost exactly like Payne's gray. But I didn't really want it to be a gray color. I still want it to have some blue. So I'm going to get some more turquoise and put that in. Alright, I'm happy with this color, and I'm just adding some more water to it to make sure there's plenty to use for the background. This will be the first layer of your background color, but we will add and build on it. Continue to leave that little gap between the items you're painting around because you don't want to cause that bleeding with this blue, because it will definitely be harder to hide on the yellow. Now I'm just painting in the details of the leaves and the ones that are actually dry. I think a couple of them are still pretty wet right here, so, but I'll just work the ones that I can. The way I'm doing this is I'm painting everything but the lines that I want in the leaves. So I've decided that I want this green to just be a little darker, and so I'm going to mix in some more sienna and a little more of the green pigment and see how that looks. So I think it's about this point when I realized the other leaves are just too wet for me to do those details right now, so I have to wait until the painting dries to go back over that. So I'm going to pivot and work on shading and adding texture to the branch. To prepare for that, I'm creating a darker brown using sienna and green. So mostly sienna, but enough green to create that darker tone. So my branch is bleeding a little on this leaf up top, and I decided to go ahead and make this leaf on the right and the one under the branch just a little darker with some added brown. And this is going to conclude my tutorial. Once the painting is dry, if you want to go back in with a little bit of brown in the shaded areas to even add some more depth, you can do that. I did, and it looked really nice. I hope you enjoyed this lemon tutorial. For more like this, give me a follow at Erin Kent Art on YouTube or any of the social media platforms you like to use. Also, you can check out my website, erinkentart.com.